As we mentioned earlier in the show, there has been a discovery of possible human remains at the Prairie Green landfill north of Winnipeg. For more on this, we're joined by our Truth in Politics panel. Jennifer Leywitz is the CEO of Pasqua Harbor Strategies, and Egon Sinclair is a columnist with the Winnipeg Free Press. Jennifer, we'll start with you here, and news late on Wednesday that human remains have potentially been discovered at the Prairie Green landfill, where the search for Mercedes Myron and Morgan Harris have been underway for the past 3 months. Your thoughts on the news?
First and foremost, deepest condolences and apologies to the family that have had to endure this. I don't even have the words for what they've had to endure since the beginning of this, from the fighting to even have this landfill search done, to now waiting every single day to hear news about whether or not something has been found, and now essentially waiting back to hear who it was that has been identified and when they'll be identified, and then dealing with the grieving process from there, both for the victim's family of the remains of the person that's been found, and also the family of potential victims that haven't been found, and that they need to continue on from there with the continued waiting process so that they can start their journey of truly actually healing. Very, very incredibly sad news. And all I can say is also thank you to the Manitoba government and Wab Kinew, who made a promise to get this search done and started, and seeing that come to life.
And Egon, I don't know if you caught the press conference this morning, but emotional criticism pointed again at the Winnipeg Police and former Manitoba Premier Heather Stephenson, and those who said that this couldn't be done. Melissa Robinson saying, quote, "To hell with you guys." Elle Harris, the daughter of Morgan Harris, saying to those people, "Do better." Did that cross your mind too?
Yeah, it was, and also a lot of talk of former Grand Chief Kathy Merrick, who was one of the proponents, and she was fighting hard to get this work done. I think that there's a bit of vindication for Grand Chief Merrick, and so there was a lot of talk about her as well at the press conference. I echo just my thoughts and hopes, and best love goes to the families of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron, who they continue to search. Those families are searching for them, and that's something that I think we need to keep at the paramount, at the center of all of this. This uncovery or discovery or it is a moment in which we should ponder as all people within this country, all of us. When the Winnipeg Police Service came out to say, that they had found human remains, and they had actually found them months before that, but simply hadn't shared that with the public, and they continued to allow that landfill to continue to operate. They said it wasn't feasible. The search wasn't feasible. At that time, the search was projected to cost around $180 million. Wab Kinew has dedicated $20 million to make that search possible. And only after a few weeks, only after $20 million of provincial money, we have found human remains at the Prairie Green landfill. Now, we don't know exactly who they are, potentially human remains. There is some possibility they might not be human as well. We have to open up the possibility that they could be somebody else. And but it certainly says to you that what Wab Kinew said on media this morning is, he said, "We always knew this search would be right, but now we know that it was reasonable." This was an absolute reasonable request by the families of those who have experienced tremendous loss from a convicted serial killer. We should continue to search. We should not stop now. We should continue to do that work to support them, and most importantly, to find other loved ones that are all throughout Canada, including those at potentially unmarked sites at residential schools, where people say, "Oh, show me the evidence, show me the bodies." That's not the issue. The issue is that we need to be supporting people who have lost loved ones, Indigenous for the most part, and continue to do that more than ever.
Jennifer, the families here and First Nations leaders across this country have called for an independent inquiry to look into the actions and procedures of the Winnipeg Police Service and the province of Manitoba in their ongoing investigations, their initial investigations as well. Does this possible discovery add more fuel to that fire?
I think so. I think, especially in the last 6 months, we've been hearing so much about violence for Indigenous people at the hands of police, but also as we hear more about the tragedies that are taking place on our communities, especially with our youth and our young adults that are dealing with things like mental health and addictions and all of those things, I worry about what that uptick or that crisis might look like at the hands of law enforcement. I would very much not only like to see inquiries to police services across the country and the RCMP and Saskatchewan's newest Marshal Service, but also what type of training and implementations are being done to ensure that these rates of bad actions, to put it lightly, that are happening at the hands of police are decreased, and if not, eliminated altogether.
Jennifer Negon, heavy topic. We'll leave it there for this week. Thanks to you both, as always.
Thank you much.